Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Monday, and we're on time.
We're on time with the wrong logo. That's right. There we go.
Fine operation we've got running here.
I'm letting it go. I don't know about you, but I'm going to let it go.
There you go. That's exactly it. That perfect example. So that's Tom. I'm Bob. If you didn't figure that out, you can look at the names if you ever get confused. It's a beautiful Monday, another week. Pretty exciting, Tom. I'm fired up. I got away this weekend, like totally didn't check social media, didn't check my email, let it go, as it were.
Nice. I would say that I wasn't exactly there, but I was close. I had a lot of lacrosse stuff going on, so that was good. And sometimes that's, it's healthy for us to do that. So good morning, everyone. This is today's Antidote, our daily broadcast, where we try to have a discussion about a topic. And we hope that you will join in that discussion by providing your comments. And then at the end, Bob and I will each provide our one thing. The one thing that we hope will be your antidote to the challenge that maybe you're facing today, or maybe you'll face in the future, and you'll be better prepared to handle it based on something that we said or something that somebody puts in the comments. And if you have thoughts and would like to share your one thing, please feel free to share that in the comments. Whether you're watching it live or you're watching it later, we hope that you will share, because we know that it will help someone. Someone is out there looking for the information that you're going to provide. And so we hope that you will share it as a part of this broadcast. So, Bob, we've spent a lot of time talking about things like distractions, making decisions. The last couple of weeks has been a lot of all these things that are an important part of what we do throughout our business day. And I think our topic this week is one of those things that is also helpful to be aware of and to understand as you try to move through your day, your week, your month, just through your work life. And that is being able to let go of some things. And today we're going to try and talk a little bit about what it is. What does it mean to let go? But before we do that, do you want to share a little bit, Bob, about what we've got coming up this week?
Yeah. Oh, we do have two things this week. I thought it was one, but it's two. Hey, on Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, you can do a check-in, check-up. You can tell us how the program's affected you. You can tell us how your work week's going so far. You can tell us what you're still trying to get done on your to-do list. You can ask for advice. You can ask for help. You can network with other people. That's 1 p.m. this Wednesday and every Wednesday within the Ring of Renegades. You can look for the information on Facebook events, and you'll be right there. And then this Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern time is the Renegade Roundup networking event. That's right, a chance for you to meet other Ring of Renegade members and get to know them. We've got some ways to help you get to know them so that you're going to want to not just know them deeper, but actually work with them.
Very well.
I do get jazzed up for that, don't I?
You hadn't noticed?
I really didn't until today, because I wasn't really jazzed up about things, and then suddenly you put that slide up and away I go.
It's like turning on the Energizer Bunny. Plugged you in and off is done.
That's exactly how it is.
Because I have to go back and watch, but I'm not sure I noticed your little like da-da-da-da and the day when we started.
I did it.
Oh, okay. Did you give us the day?
I did. I said Monday.
Okay.
Did you Monday?
I must have been sleeping.
You were busy working with the logo.
Yeah. Figuring out why did I have the logo wrong. Which is funny because it's not our first anniversary. But do you know what tomorrow is? I love bringing these things up to you.
No idea.
Tomorrow, if you checked out our initial screen when we started, today is our 299th episode.
Wow.
So tomorrow is our 300th episode. Hard to believe. And It is true. but it's just a number. So we're going to let go of that. And we're going to move on to our topic. So again, our topic of the day is letting go, and a little bit about what it is. What does it mean? So why don't you share a little bit of your thoughts about this, Bob? You had some ideas about this that I think would be helpful to people.
Yeah, this topic came about because I was meditating this morning. This morning I got up early and I was trying to get into a practice of just having a great day. So I walked a couple miles and then I came home. And after I exercised, it's easy to meditate. And I went to the random topic and it was letting go. And I thought, okay, and that's the topic that came up. So I was listening to letting go. And it was talking about things that we can't control. And that if we're spending our energy on things that we can't affect, we are not, by definition, we don't have energy to focus on the things we can affect. And so therefore, we're wasting time. Now, it didn't say that. It just said, look for the things that you can affect and the things you can't affect, like the weather. I played golf Friday. It was cold again. It was just overcast and windy, like 20-mile-an-hour wind. This is the third week in a row.
It is April, you realize.
Right. And I can't control that. So I surrendered to that Friday and said, you know what? Hey, this is what it is. I'm out playing golf. I'm having a great time. I'm not going to let the wind bother me. And I think in business, we have to let go of things. And over the course of the week, I think we can start talking about what those things might be. But I think every one of us is probably holding on to at least one business belief, business idea, customer, wannabe customer, or marketing strategy that we probably should be letting go of. Because I know I can think of one of each of those categories in my own business.
Well, it's a little bit about change, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is letting go means, this thing that I've been holding on to for a long time, whether it's an action, it's a belief, it's a thought, sometimes
an employee.
Sometimes we just have to say, you know what, it's time to move on. It's time to do something different. And what I hope we don't think about letting go of is what is our ultimate dream. I think that sometimes becomes the challenge, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later this week, but that's, hopefully that is your purpose. That is your intention. That's where you're trying to be. And it might not be a job or an industry, but it might be something more. I think about when we started talking about this was about sort of helping ourselves, but also about how do we help others. And we didn't really have a concept of what it all looked like. So I hope that we hold on to that. But maybe that's a conversation for another day. Mm-hmm. And I think of, like you said, is how do we think of those things that we can't control? Those things that we don't have results over. We don't have the control over the results. And it's not an easy thing to do because we usually have been either doing it or thinking about it or been in that situation for a long time. And so finding a way to move beyond that can be really challenging. And, I think it's especially hard when this is something that you've seen, you've experienced. And why I think, for entrepreneurs, it's so hard because they usually don't have those models. The models that they have seen, the experiences they've had have not necessarily been that, usually. They've usually been around people who have been, and this is the model. You go to work and you do whatever. I mean, honestly, I don't talk about this a lot, but I was fortunate. My parents started their own business after my dad was like, I was traveling all the time and I didn't want to do it for somebody else. And so they started their own business and then had a couple of businesses along the way. And it was interesting to watch the highs and lows, challenges and opportunities that all provided. And yet knowing that it was at least something that was out there, something that I had some experience with to see, hey, you know what, this is a way that people actually do live their professional life. And I think, though, if we have never experienced that, it's hard to let go of that thought of, well, this is the standard way. This is how I need to move forward. This is the person I've had on my team forever. This is the thought process that I've had. It's a challenge to do that.
Well, and if the people around us are clinging to those things as well, it can create another layer of friction. So, You could be very entrepreneurial, Tom, by design, by luck, by study, however you got there. But perhaps your wife goes, hey, you know what, Tom? I really like the steady paycheck and the benefits and the stability that brings. I know you can't imagine something like that actually being said in the world, Tom. I know, me either. But that friction there, and how do you let go of that, and how do you decide whether you want to do what you feel you were meant to do or cling to that even though it doesn't feel comfortable? That can be a source of friction. I think also letting go of the idea that, when you work for someone else, you get paid a steady amount and you have sick days and you have vacation days and all those things. And suddenly when you're working for yourself, you've got to figure it out. You've got to base your pay on the amount of time and effort. And it's not an hourly kind of thing. If you charge the same amount as your employer paid you and do the same job, you're going to lose money every time. And I think there's a lot that we can think about letting go of. And I think it's important to start thinking about what we can let go of, because when I let go of things, usually it opens the space for more good things to happen. I find that when my mind is clouded with I've talked to this person 23 times now and they're still not my client. What's it going to take? That's just wasting a lot of energy. That if I could just say, you know what, I've talked to them 23 times. Clearly they're not ready for it. Let's go talk to the next person, right?
Yeah. Oh, I can see that in my work in fundraising.
Oh,
I can think of the names right now of the prospects that I had. Like, this person should be a donor.
Yep.
What bad words to say. And so we try and try and try and try, and you're like, I don't know why. And at some point, we have to determine, what is kind of like when we talked about with distractions. Like, okay, at what point do you give up on? Do you move away from a distraction? Similar, at what point do you move on and let go of something that you've been holding on to for usually a long time?
And it occurs to me as you said that, Tom, that what we're really letting go of, in your case, it's not the donor, it's our mindset around that donor. You're suggesting how they should be acting, and you don't have their knowledge, experience, perspective. So perhaps they're giving $4 million to the Cancer Society every year, and they just haven't mentioned it to you. And your nice college is beautiful, but they really feel like the Cancer Society is where that money should go, and that doesn't. And you have incomplete information. And I think when we don't let go, we're making a lot of suppositions. We're making a lot of assessments, a lot of judgments that end up biting us because we don't have the information.
Interesting. As you were talking about that, it was interesting to think about. We can't have all the information, right? It's almost impossible. So
Correct.
Our knowledge, experience, and perspective is limited to what we have, what we know, what we have, what we've experienced.
What people share with us.
What people share with us, right.
Which isn't everything.
Real. Correct. That's what's real for us. And so sometimes it's getting new information, getting new perspective, having a new experience is going to change what's real, that allows us to now let go. Because now we have a different understanding of what is real rather than what was real before. In my scenario, I thought I was right. Person was alumnus. They had money. They were interested. They just never really made a big gift. And I didn't have enough information to know, like, why is that not the case? And it boiled down to me needing more knowledge so that I could understand. And because I thought I was right, I thought I had all the knowledge that I needed. Thought I had all the perspective. And so.
And you knew better.
Yeah,
right?
I guess. Yeah.
Well, if we're making that assessment of someone else, what someone else should do, you should do this, then we're saying, by definition, that we know better. We're telling them that we see something for them that they should do.
That we're right.
Correct. Versus, hey, I see this opportunity for you. I'd love to help you get there. In your donor explanation, hey, I know you might give money to a lot of causes. I know the school means a lot to you. Have you ever really thought about how you might help it so others could experience what you experienced? You're not telling them at that point what to do. You're giving them information so they can add that to their recipe. And you're also opening the door in that case to them saying to you, Tom, that sounds really good, but we'd prefer to do this. Or we don't believe the stock market's going to continue to rise and we're not going to give our money right now because we're worried about it, which completely rational.
It's what's real for them, that's for sure.
Right.
And I think that's kind of the key of it all, is that, again, when we think that we are right, we aren't going to let go.
Yep.
We're going to hold on to this, whatever it is, until we understand that maybe that's not really, it's not right. It's just what's real. And we can change what's real to move forward.
I can think of the example when I started my first business that I really believed that I had to solve everything myself. If there was a problem, if I could, of course it's mine. I better. How can you be the guy who's the CEO if you're not the guy who's the CEO? But what I've come to realize is that's pretty much the recipe for not succeeding. It's a whole lot easier to succeed when you go to someone and go, hey, I tried this networking thing. Can you just watch me at the networking event and just give me a hint on what I might do differently? Oh, yeah. Don't walk up to them and hand them your card right away. Oh, okay. Good to know. And simple things. But I think we all cling to the idea that we're not in charge unless we know everything. And when I managed people, that was one of the first things. And it's funny because someone said to me a couple of weeks ago, they're like, I said to them, I could probably manage your operation if I had to. And they're like, you don't even know what we do. And I said, I don't need to. All I need to do is have a thumbnail sketch of what the people are supposed to do and be able to engage with the people. And that's how I can move you forward.
Well, right. I mean, I think that's the big misconception is that just because you can do the work well doesn't necessarily mean you can manage people to do the work well. And I think so often we get confused and we need to think maybe differently, or we could think differently about who are the people that I need to lead what's going on. And they don't necessarily have to know every specific technical piece of whatever it is that we're doing, as long as they know how to find answers, how to help others find solutions, and how to clear things out of the way of the people who are actually doing the work. And I think that sometimes becomes the biggest challenges in hiring is there's this old model of, okay, do really well at your job and you're going to advance to the next level. Do really well at that and you're going to advance to the next level. And yet with each new level, you need different knowledge, experience, and perspective that you aren't necessarily gaining doing the work, that there are other things. And I think that, that's where organizations or even solopreneurs get in challenges. Yeah, I knew how to fundraise, or I had some ideas, some strategies, some experience and knowledge about how to fundraise and how to work and connect and engage with people. That didn't mean that I'm going to go out and start my own business. That doesn't necessarily mean that I know exactly how to market, that I know how to make sales calls without being sales calls, that I knew how to network.
Or write proposals or invoice or, set up a PayPal account.
Right.
Have a tracking system. It's on and on. And I think there's this belief that if you're an entrepreneur or you're a leader, you should know all those things. And I think the biggest thing I'm trying to let go of is the belief that I should know everything. And when I let go and say to someone, hey, how do you do this? They always open arms. Oh, Bob, well, I used this invoicing system. I set up a PayPal business account this way. Someone walked me through PayPal a couple of years ago, and it took them 9 minutes. Yeah. I had spent a weekend trying to figure out PayPal. And they just were like, share your screen, do this, do this, do this. I had my clinging to PayPal that I need to figure it out because it's my company.
Sure.
Cost me a weekend. Yeah. When if I talked to this person who I knew all along could have helped me like that. It was just, hey, I spent all week on this. So they're like, why? Why didn't you call me? I'm like, yeah.
Because they have different knowledge, experience, and perspective. It's interesting. We do this all the time together. When we have a presentation, I have now let go of the fact that I alone can put together a presentation. All I can do is put together what I think people might be interested in, what I want to share with them. What I now understand is that it's very difficult to actually, when I'm putting it together, step out of that and be like, okay, how is the person experiencing it? What's going through their mind? So the fact that we sit down and have conversations about it and actually go through the presentation, and you are, or I am for you, the audience. And like, I can now sit and think like, okay, if I'm sitting in the audience, what am I thinking about? When have I lost interest? When have I no longer become engaged? And you're like, well, this content is awesome. That's why I'm sharing it. And that's why I'm the speaker. So why wouldn't you listen?
Right.
Right.
Well, you and I are doing this now with emails.
Sure.
And pretty much anything. I mean, we kind of have an open door policy about it. Like if you said to me, hey, Bob, I'm thinking of redoing my business card. What do you think? It's just normal. And if you're someone who doesn't have that available to you, because one of the great things about Tom and me is we're not competitive. We complement each other. And if we were really competitive, it would be hard for me to see you succeed. Because it'd be like, oh, Tom, because we're kind of in the same area. I mean, we could have some of the same clients.
Of course.
And so we could be competitive, and I could say, well, if I help Tom, that means the customer is not going to work with me. And if Tom helps me, that customer might not work with him. I don't want Bob to be better than me, but we've gotten over that. And to the point where I think it's helped us both be better each. And I'm at the point now where if someone said, hey, I'd like both of you to bid on something, if you won it and I didn't, I'd be like, bravo, congratulations, awesome.
Well, I think that's the understanding that we all bring different skill sets, that we're all unique, and that there might be a reason why someone, for whatever reason, might be more interested in the way that you present it, in the way that I present it, and the knowledge that you're sharing, and the experiences that you've had. I think those are opportunities that are beneficial. And I think when you have, the more people you have like that, the opportunity you have to just gain, more experience from people who really have an understanding in a certain area, and then find others who have an understanding in another area.
Yeah.
And I think that's again, part of the challenge of how do we let go of this is where that it's all on me, that it's a part of what I need to do. So as we get to this wrap up.
Oh, you beat me to it.
Because I didn't have mine. So I wanted to give you the chance to ask, what's your one thing today, Bob?
I think my one thing is that the more we let go of things, the more opportunity, the more space we have to do great things. So the time I waste on something, figuring out how to make website changes. Someone was talking to me the other day. Oh, I got to figure out how to fix this thing on my website. And I'm like, how long is it going to take you? Probably a day. I was like, I can give you the name of someone. Bet they can fix it for you within the hour. Oh, I can't afford that. What's a day cost you? Let's say $1,000. I'm just throwing a number out. I'm like, it's not going to cost you that much for that change. Doing that cost benefit analysis is really critical because I think we all cling to things, whether it's the person that should have by now decided to work with us, the practice or policy or procedure that we've always done that no longer fits. Look at restaurants. There's a great example in restaurants. Restaurants are completely different now. We were in a restaurant over the weekend and we got the menu on our phone and we ordered on our phone. So the waiter or waitress didn't need to come. So they had someone serve and then that server brought us the payment machine. Mm-hmm. That's not how, if you had said 5 years ago, hey, Imagine almost a humanless restaurant. What would that look like? They'd be like, oh, I can't work. And we experienced it.
Sure.
Sure. So let go is to say everything doesn't have to be a certain way.
Sure. I'm going to go with, it becomes a lot easier to let go if you believe that what you have is what's real, not what's right. I think that when we think we are right, it's really hard to let go. And typically, we don't have all the knowledge, experience, and perspective that we need to have that happen. So if you can stop thinking about this is right and think about it as this is just what's real for me based on what I know, it can sometimes be easier with new knowledge, new experience, new perspective to change and let go and say, okay, maybe there is another way. Maybe there is something else out there that I am searching for. And that what I thought when I thought I was right was just what was real in the moment for me based on what I knew.
I like that. That's great.
Thanks. And I think we ought to, before we go, we believe Tim Nevergo is probably one of our most dedicated listeners.
Yes.
I think that would be fair to say. And we believe that Tim is having some surgery today. And so we just want to wish him the best. Hope that he lets go of any fear or worry and lets the doctors do their thing. And so we wish him well. I think it's just a minor surgery, but I hope that if that he goes through it and everything goes well. So we just wanted to wish Tim well on his surgery.
Get well soon, Tim. Truly. Couldn't have said better, Tom.
All right. So thanks everybody for joining us today. We hope that you enjoy the conversation. If you enjoy other conversations like this or want to participate in further discussion around this topic, please join us in the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where I'm sure there will be quotes and polls and comments and thoughts and discussions all around letting go this week. And what are the things that you need to let go of that you maybe have been thinking this is right, when actually it's just what's real in the moment. And maybe if you consider that it's just what's real, you might find some new things to move forward with that might help you move forward. So join us. Just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, and then just ask to join. It is a private group because we honestly believe that to have conversations like that, you need a space that is safe, that for people who really are there intentionally to find out how to take the next step on their unique pathway to success and support others as they try to do the same. So we hope to see you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, or we'll see you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time for our next edition of today's Antidote. And if you want to learn a little bit more about the Ring of Renegades, here is some further details. Have a great day, everyone.
Carving your own path is tough. You want and need a community to offer you insights and advice, share inspiration, provide support, and save you time and money. But where do you find all that? Here's the easy answer: the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where leaders, entrepreneurs, and business owners identify their next steps. Here's some of what you will find at the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. Just go to ringofrenegades.com and join today. Find and accomplish those next steps.